Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to TMNT Mutant Madness. This is the long overdue, the much requested December top 10 list for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Madness. We're going to go over the top 10, in my opinion, in this game, and what's been serving me well so far. Plus, one or two that is more of a community vote than anything else. But first, before we jump into that, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, and welcome back. Just a quick reminder, all the links to my social media are in the description below in every video, so definitely check those out. All right, so TMNT Mutant Madness, I've had a lot of questions as far as where is my top 10 for December, and, a couple things. First, I've been moving, a whole lot of stuff has been happening there. Life stuff has kind of just taken over, so I've had to take care of that kind of stuff. But I've also been doing a lot of playtesting with some specific characters that I thought I was going to add into the top 10 that I ended up not adding into the top 10 just because they didn't work as well as I thought they would. This top 10, again, just a reminder, this is the top 10 coming from my point of view, my experiences in the game, and what has been working well for me. What works well for me may not work well for everybody, but this is just completely subjective and my opinion based, again, on my experiences. Also, when it comes to top 10s, putting one at the beginning of the month, putting one out in the first week of December when it just hit December, when you're more than likely going to have some characters launch sometime in December, I'd rather put these top 10s in the middle of the month than in the beginning of the month, because it just gives you more opportunity to allow for new characters to come into the game. All right, there's my excuses. There's my reasonings behind my top 10 here. And so let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and jump in. Not to mention, I was working on that interview, so that took up some time as well. All right, anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at my top 10. Now, when it comes to my top 10, some of these are repeats from previous top 10s, and there are a few in here, probably almost, I think half now. Half of them from what I originally had in my top 10 are now gone, and we have some new people in the top 10. Let's go ahead. We're going to start off with Mikey. Mikey, he's been a fan favorite for a very long time. He has been very strong in this game for a long time, all the way, I believe, from the very first top 10 I did. I loved his stuns. His stun is great. Also, I just recently maxed him out, and one thing that I really like about it is his last ability here, where he, look at this, target an enemy at range 2, inflict minus 50 focus, minus 50 alertness for 6 seconds, target all enemies at range 2. This was new that I just unlocked. Inflict minus 6.69 thousand defense. So not only are you stunning them, you're reducing the defense, which allows you to do more damage to them. So great character, great all-around character. Can't go wrong with this guy. So definitely in the top 10. Now, when it comes to Zorax here, easily top 10 material because the amount of damage that he does. Now, what does his last ability do? If you max him out, deal 69 extra damage per focus, gain 23 extra defense per focus there. This guy does a massive amount of damage. He's going to be one of your main damage dealers on your team. He's done, I have now seen upwards of 60,000 plus damage done on any one opponent, and completely have taken them from a from a health bar down to dead on the battlefield. So he's been an absolutely fantastic character to have in my roster here. All right, so with that, so you see all of my 4 stars here. I'm not even using a full 4-star team right now, and I'm doing pretty well. So we've got Michelangelo, we've got Zorax. I did drop Genghis from the top 10. His damage is in the air. I'm still using him. He's working out fairly well. I just don't know that he's top 10 material anymore. His damage is fairly low, especially for a defender that is supposed to be a defender brawler, which is focused on dealing a lot of damage in melee. He doesn't really do as much damage as you would expect. So I don't know if that's intended or not, but given the tags that he has, he just doesn't live up to it. All right, next, Taka. Taka I've had on the top 10. He's absolutely fantastic. What I like about him, he's got a lot of different things in his kit. So right here, he deals physical damage. He reduces defense. He roots. He inflicts root for 2 seconds to the target with 0 strength. What else do we have? We deal some damage there, some physical damage there. Look at this, minus 20 extra strength to targets under 30 armor. You've got gain defense and plus 200 armor for 2 seconds. Receive disarm for 2 seconds. Gain, once you max this guy out, gain plus 40 armor for 8 seconds. Inflict minus 25 will to all enemies within range 1. He has a lot in his kit. Gain armor here, deal extra damage, and inflict minus 10 strength for 10 seconds. This guy just has a great all-around kit that helps in pretty much every team that I have ever put this guy in. He is the only 3-star that I have in my final team that I'm currently using right now, and he does very, very well. Zach, now I don't use this guy very often, but this guy has some great damage. He has some great AoE damage. He sits back, so it's difficult to get to him. If you go up against this guy, you need to take him out as quickly as you can because he does a ton of damage. Now, when it comes to AoE damage, I did have Ace Duck in my top 10 for a little while, but the more experience that I had with him, his kit's good. He does a little bit more damage as the fight goes on, but he doesn't do a ton of damage. This guy does a lot more damage than Ace Duck. I think if I was to put the two side to side, well, obviously I did. This guy made it into the top 10. He is great. He does well. He sits back. It's difficult to get to him, especially with the different attacks and everything that we have in the game and the ranges and the movement. It's hard to get to this guy. He's good. I like him. All right, so that is Zach. April has been great for a very long time. Just kind of taking a look in here. Inflict stun for 3 seconds. She is great. I love characters in this game that do stun. Stun was super strong in the very early beginnings of this game. It is not as strong as it was before, but is still very, very useful. Target all other allies. Give plus 50 alertness. She gives some nice buffs. Inflict minus 75 alertness for 3 seconds to enemies. So she debuffs your enemies, or she debuffs. She debuffs your enemies. She buffs your team. She causes stun. She reduces haste and alertness. She adds defense. She is a great, fantastic, all-around character. Definitely deserving of being in the top 10. All right, so with that, we're going to go to Leatherhead. Leatherhead also is one that has been kind of, I can't remember if he was in the last top 10, but he's been in my top 10 before. Again, he's a great tank. So he's a trickster tank here. So tanks obviously are supposed to soak up a lot of damage. Tricksters hinders their enemies, reducing their capabilities, and that really comes into play with his stuns and stuff. So inflict stun here for 2 seconds, and root for 6 seconds. Stuns and roots are great. Obviously stuns because it reduces the amount of damage that your opponents can do. Roots immobilizes them. It reduces their movement and what they can inflict on your team. So those are always good in these types of games, whether they're these types of real-time battles, turn-based RPG type games. All of those come to the game. Stuns, roots are all great. Defense downs, attack downs, those types of things are all fantastic because ultimately what you want is you want to reduce the movement and damage of your opponent and increase the movement and damage of your own team. You've got some nice damage and everything here that he does. 40% resistance to stun, root, and slow. Great against those PvP teams. So Leatherhead, fantastic character and definitely deserving of being in the top 10. All right, so what do we got there? We've got We've got what? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leatherhead was number 6. Number 7 is Ray. He's new, and he's one I don't have a ton of experience with, I'll be honest with you. I do add some characters into my top 10 based on feedback from the community. I take a look at Discord and people who call, DM me and things like that, and things that I see from other players. Ray has been a pretty good tank. So he is a tank. Check this out. So he's a tank support. So for that support, right, character that aids their allies, improving their capabilities. So let's just take a look at that really quick here. We do some defense, gain defense, select an empty tile, not at range 3, move there, target all enemies within range, deal some damage, minus 75 haste, so it's reducing how quick your opponents can move. What else we got here? Target enemy, we do some damage there. We're inflicting, again, minus 20 haste, minus 20 haste if above 0 defense. We've got some more. We're gaining defense here. We're giving defense here as well. Target the lowest health ally at range 3, which, again, when you take a look at the grids on the ground, right, that is a guy that's a couple, or a character that's a couple tiles away from you that you're giving defense to. 3.9 thousand defense, and this guy's not even maxed yet. We can gain plus 20 will for 10 seconds. Target the lowest health ally at range 3. Give plus 40 will. So not only are you giving defense, but you're also giving will. So very good support tank. Soaks up a pretty good amount of damage as well. He also has some resistance to stun. To allies. So look at give 25% resistance to stun to allies within range 2. So obviously pretty close to this guy. You're going to give some of that resistance to your allies. Again, helpful in PvP, especially for stun teams. You get that up to 225. You're going to give 25% resistance to root. Give 25% resistance to root to allies within range 2. So you're giving resistance to stun and resistance to root. Again, the more that you can move quickly, attack quickly, and do more damage, the better. So if you can resist those stuns and resist those roots, then you're going to have an edge up on your opponent's team. Gain 100 barrier, which is fantastic. Gain 40 alertness if above 0 defense. And then gain, once you're at 200, gain 40 strength if above 0 defense. Just a great kit that is helpful to allies and also detrimental to your opponent. So that is why Ray has made it into the top 10. So this guy here, Leonardo, a lot of people have asked me, take a look at Leonardo. He does a fantastic job. He does some good damage. He's a great turtle. A lot of the turtles, actually, with a lot of changes and everything that have happened in the game, the turtle team together is actually very, very good. Raphael is very good as well for a tank. But Leonardo here, target all allies, give plus 10 strength. So immediately you're doing some more damage there. You're dealing physical damage to over 3 hits. Let's see, move next to them and you're doing that damage. You're also giving defense to the target under 50% health. So you do some nice assistance there with your allies. Right here, gain 300 armor for 2 seconds and 50% resistance to stun, root, and slow. So again, resisting those movement impairing effects so that you can do more damage and that you can move and go where you need to, right? Target all enemies within range 1, deal physical damage over 3 hits. Over here, target all allies, give defense plus 25 strength for 10 seconds. This guy is fantastic. He's a great support here. As you can see, he's a brawler support, so he does good damage and he does good support. This is one of the ones where the tags fit pretty well because, again, he does great support and he also does some great damage. Right here, you're giving strength to all allies that are not disarmed and have another ally within range 1. Give plus 25 haste to all allies once you get that up to 225. So he's just a great all-around character and fits well in a lot of teams. All right, and next is going to be Mondo Gecko. You know, I didn't give this guy much of a look at all, but we're going to go ahead, take a look at this. He's got some really cool stuff going on for him. He gives himself haste again, haste, speed, does more damage, absolutely awesome. He does some energy damage here. He targets an enemy at range 1, deals additional physical damage, inflict damage over 4 seconds to stunned, rooted, or slowed targets in between. Great synergy with any of your other characters that do stuns, roots, slows, Baxter, Michelangelo, things like that. Does great there. Right here, he gains defense, 50% resistance to stun for 4 seconds, which is awesome as well. Targets enemy within range 1, does physical damage over 2 hits. Target enemy at range 1, deal physical damage, inflict stun for 1 second, and slow for 5 seconds. So he's inflicting stuns, he's slowing down enemies. That 1 second may seem a little negligible, but could be what it causes you to win that battle. Deal extra damage per haste right here. Remember, he gives himself a ton of haste, that plus 200 haste. After attacking, he gains defense if at or above 0 haste. So again, he gives himself that haste. He's going to be above that 0 haste. So he's giving himself some additional defense, which makes him a little bit difficult to take down as well. And then when attacking, deal extra damage if not stunned, rooted, or slowed. So the fact that he is not stunned, he's not rooted or slowed. You can't attack when you're stunned anyway. You can barely attack when you're rooted and there's nobody around you. But the fact that if he doesn't have any of this stuff, he does additional damage, is just very cool. It makes him a very diverse character. and allows you to put them in a couple different types of team configurations that work pretty well. Again, synergizes with characters that do stuns and stuff like that. So for that, he's in the top 10. He's new to the top 10. We'll see if he sticks around. There's some cool stuff coming up. We got Stone Mikey and things like that. But this guy does a great job. I'm seeing more and more of him in the arena as well. So very cool character here. And one, he's worth checking out. And the final one, I did save him for last. He's been my favorite for a long time. He did fall off the top 10. He is back on the top 10 here. Rocksteady, you know what? He does a fantastic job in the game. I am still using him in my end team. Yes, I know I passed him in the beginning because I wanted to kind of do that surprise at the very end. He does do good. I know throughout the life of this game so far, which has only been a few months, some people have not liked him so much, but he has worked very well for me, and I've kind of seen people's attitudes towards Rocksteady change a little bit. So if we kind of go through his kit, you're gaining a great amount of defense here. You're doing some damage. You're also doing some additional damage per armor. Target up to 4 enemies at range 3, dealing energy damage over 4 hits. You're also inflicting minus 15 strength for 8 seconds for each target. We're also taking a look at target all enemies at range 1, inflict minus 40 strength for 6 seconds. So again, whenever you have an opportunity to reduce the amount of damage that your opponent can do towards you, the longer you're going to survive and the more damage that you can do. So it's always good. After being stunned, silenced, disarmed, or rooted, you're gaining plus 20 armor for 10 seconds. So even though all that stuff's happening to you, you're still gaining that armor so that less damage could be done to you, so that you can survive longer and do damage to your opponents. After being attacked, gain plus 5 armor for 10 seconds. I'm almost there. 225. I'm at 220 right now. And then Rhino Ruffian. After attacking, gain defense. Gain extra defense if the target is under 20 armor. After attacking, gain plus 5 strength for 30 seconds if the target is under 0 armor. So this guy he's a great tank. So if you take a look at this, he is a ranged tank, which is kind of odd for tanks, but he's a blaster tank, really. A character focused on dealing a lot of damage at range. That's where he does his charge and things like that. Does a decent amount of damage as well. He soaks up a lot of damage, and he is a great tank, and he does very, very well. Again, a character I have used since he was my very first 4-star, and ever since I got him, I've been using him in my team. I swapped him out so many different times, but I found more success with him than I have without him. So Rocksteady earns a spot back into my top 10. All right, everybody, there you go. There's my top 10s and my reasons for each one of them. Very interested in your thoughts. Did your favorite make it into the top 10? There you go. This is droning on, so I'm going to go ahead and stop. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.